Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Medal of Valor ceremony for Sergeant Jonathan Kalagher of our agency. Before we begin, I would ask those that can, if you could stand while we honor our flag for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Order up.
Again, welcome everyone. You can be seated on this beautiful November day. It's amazing. A true tribute to JK today. I'd like to thank all of you personally for coming. I'd like to thank Undersecretary Reidy, Secretary Turco, Selectman Johnson, Edinburgh, Marshall, our town manager, Christy Williams, and Amber Bach. Thank you so much for providing this venue today, our superintendent of schools. Can't thank you enough during these trying times during COVID, trying to pull this off safely, and she's been fantastic with her team to make this happen, along with many of the Westborough police officers behind you. On November 15th, 2019, almost a year ago today, Our communication center for police and fire received a horrific call, something they probably never heard. A woman fighting for her life, stabbed multiple times, fought for her life, was able to escape to a neighbor's house. A housebreak ensued, again stabbed multiple times, with Good Samaritans aiding her, keeping her alive, until the actions of one of our own, one of Westborough's own, who served this town for 32 years with distinction, arrived on scene and with seconds had to make a decision to save another human being's life. I can't tell you how proud we are of him. I can't tell you how proud we are of the training and the equipment and the support we receive from the community. And his actions are heroic, heroic. So we're going to be presenting him with the Medal of Valor and some other achievements. But right now I'd like to turn the podium over to the chair of our Board of Selectmen, Shelby Marshall.
On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, it is my honor to read this proclamation. Whereas Police Sergeant Jonathan Kalagher is a native son of Westborough, coming of age in the very community he has vowed to protect and serve, graduated from Westborough High School, continued his education to attain a master's in criminal justice administration, and whereas Sergeant Kalagher has served the town of Westborough for 32 years, beginning as a special duty police officer just after graduating high school, hired as a patrolman a year later, then promoted to rank of sergeant in 2000. And whereas Sergeant Kalagher's career reflects numerous written commendations from supervisors, peers, and residents that describe his consummate professionalism, extensive volunteering, support of community events, and even helping residents with such tasks as shoveling their front walk. And whereas Sergeant Kalagher's resume includes decades of specialized training to be a member on drug task forces, his current assignment to the Federal Drug Task Force has netted high regards by the professionals within that agency. And whereas Sergeant Kalagher is a gentleman worth admiring due to his commitment to living, working, and giving back to the community. Therefore, the Board of Selectmen, in recognition of his being awarded the Medal of Valor for his heroic actions that saved the life of a member of his community, the highest honor that can be awarded by the Westborough Police Department, hereby declare this proclamation of appreciation to Sergeant Jonathan Kalagher. Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce our Undersecretary, Terry Reidy.
Thank you, Chief. It's an honor to be here in Westborough. On a light note, I was talking to the secretary when we were driving over here, and I'm pretty sure the last time we were here, we were coaching at St. John's, and Coach Poole, I think he bunted about 55 times in a game right over there. So I still have like nightmares of coming to Westborough and playing against their baseball team. On a serious note, I am honored to be here to honor Sergeant Kalagher. I had the opportunity to chair the Hannah Awards for this year, and Secretary Turco is going to talk a little more at length. But I can tell you, to a person on that committee, when we reviewed this incident and the heroic actions of the sergeant, it was amazing. It was a Zoom call. We usually do it in person, and people could not stop commending the actions of this Westborough police officer. And what I could add is, from 2007 to 2015, I was the gang unit supervisor for District Attorney Early's gang unit. So I worked personally with the Westborough Police Department. I know how the Westborough Police Department trains their officers. I know under the leadership of Chief Gordon and under the current, under Jeff currently, that's how they're trained. In this time, in this age, where it's really hard to be a police officer, it's really hard to do your duty, to be able to save someone's life in that situation and not go the other way, but be a Westborough police officer and go toward the danger and save someone in a horrific situation, in their life's most horrific time, he stepped up. And it's hard. It shows his humanity, how he's dealing with it. It's a hard and difficult situation. But I just want to note the application for the Trooper George Hanna Memorial Award and what it stated about Sergeant Kalagher. Sergeant Jonathan Kalagher neutralized an individual who was actively attempting to kill his wife. If Sergeant Kalagher did not intervene and respond as quickly as he did, the victim would no longer be alive. Now that's easy on TV to think about, but that's real life. That's the type of officer you have in the Westborough Police Department. You should be proud. And again, congratulations on this recognition. It's well deserved. Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce our Secretary of Public Safety for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Thomas Turco.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon, everyone. I do want to say I still have nightmares over that game, Terry, because I think we lost and we got knocked out of the district. So I have tough feelings towards Westborough these days still. It's a pleasure being here. I'm Tom Turco, Public Safety Secretary of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's been an honor to serve under Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito for these past 6 years. I truly appreciate the invitation to say a few words in recognizing Sergeant Jon Kalagher's actions on November 19th day. What I want to impress upon all of us here today is the heroic act Sergeant Kalagher is being recognized is in fact a situation no police officer wants to be faced with when they put on their uniform and report for their assigned duties. However, when a police officer does respond to a call, they do so with the sole intention to protect and serve our citizens of the Commonwealth, sometimes with little regards to their own personal safety. Sergeant Kalagher exhibited those qualities on November 15, 2019, when he responded to a 911 call reporting a domestic violence incident. Sergeant Kalagher's swift actions saved the life of a victim that day without hesitation, and I commend the Westborough community for recognizing him for his heroic act. Sergeant Kalagher, congratulations in receiving this Medal of Valor, excuse me. It's an honor. Thank you and every law enforcement officer for their dedicated service to our Commonwealth of Massachusetts. At this time, if Sergeant Kalagher can come up, I'd like to read a letter from EOPS. Sergeant Jon Kalagher, on behalf of the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, it is my pleasure to inform you that you'll be presented with the Medal of Valor in a ceremony at the annual Trooper George L. Hanna Memorial Awards for Bravery. Chief Jeff Lourie has submitted your name for consideration for this prestigious award in acknowledgement of your outstanding act of heroism on that November 15th date. Given the current limitations on gatherings, we will postpone this special occasion till the fall of 2021. At that time, we'll celebrate your extraordinary service in a combined ceremony with recipients from both the 2019-2020 awards recipients. Thank you for your steadfast example of selfless and inspirational courage. Your presence makes our Commonwealth stronger, and your willingness to help others, even at risk to yourself, should inspire us all. Congratulations, John.
Before we commence with recognizing Sergeant Kalagher, I wanted to take a moment to advise everyone that our state representative delegation was planning on coming here. They had business in Boston, Hannah Kane, Daniel Gregoire, Carolyn Dykma. They couldn't make it, and they send their congratulations and best to Sergeant Kalagher. And I also just wanted to take a second to say thank you to our dispatchers who worked tirelessly every day and took that call, to our firefighters who worked alongside us. Chief Purcell was very valuable to me that day. He was by my side. I can't thank him enough. To our officers, my command staff, my deputy chief, to our investigators, to the Massachusetts State Police Investigative Unit, and to Joseph Early's office, and him personally, who was on scene with us for that day. I can't thank you all enough for your commitment to providing the very best public safety services that are second to none are right here in Westborough, Massachusetts. And we're honored to lead, and we're honored to work and serve this community. With that being said, Sergeant Kalagher, front and center. Lieutenant Hallis.
This first plaque that's going to be given to present to Sergeant Kalagher was made by the Westborough High School Tech Group. So this is from the kids of the Westborough High School.
Sergeant Jonathan Kalagher, this is presented by the Westborough Police Department. In recognition of your quick professional actions, I resulted in the saving of a human life. Thank you for your dedication, commitment, and valued contribution to this community.
Gonna need a little help with this. Sergeant Kalagher, this is the highest award that can be bestowed on a police officer. This is the Medal of Valor. There is one other officer in this department that has received it, and he's standing behind me, Deputy Chief Todd Minardi. Wear this with pride. We're so proud of you, John. I misspoke. Also, recipients of this award, Rich Trainer, Jeff Johnson. So I just wanted to acknowledge them as well. So that being said, this concludes our ceremony for today. Thank you all very much for coming, social distancing. I'm going to ask now that Sergeant Kalagher lead the agency from the field. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Sergeant Kalagher. Sorry about that, John. That's all right.
First of all, I want to thank you all for being here today. I want to also thank my coworkers, family, and friends. For the support over the last year. It was a difficult one, as you can imagine. I'm honored and extremely humbled as I stand here today. I was equally humbled on November 15, 2019, which is the date of this critical incident that I'm being acknowledged for today. It was the most challenging day of my career. It was a day that changed many lives forever. It was the worst case scenario call that fortunately I and my fellow police officers trained for throughout our careers. The great training I received over my 31-year career from some great instructors was instrumental in assisting me with stopping an attack against one of our citizens. I am grateful for them and for the training they provided. I just want to acknowledge a few of those firearms and defensive tactics instructors that are here today. My Deputy Chief Todd Minardi, Sergeant Todd Rossi, Sergeant Cliff Luce, Officer Greg McRae, and retired Detective Gary Hassett. I would also like to thank Pamela Orlando and Mary Ann Silva. They were the two dispatchers that took that harrowing call on the day of the incident. They did a great job under extreme circumstances. I would also like to acknowledge the many members of the fire department that arrived at the scene that day and provided life-saving measures to the female involved in the incident. To be honest, I remember Captain Danny Hare being there, and the others are a blur. Lastly, I want to thank that female survivor, wherever she may be, for having the courage to fight off her attacker and seek refuge in her neighbor's apartment next door. I also want to thank that family that took her in, putting themselves at grave risk for doing so. They collectively provided me enough time to arrive at the scene and intervene to prevent the loss of a life. It has been an honor to protect and serve the citizens of Westborough over the course of my career. Thank you all again. Be safe and enjoy this beautiful day. Thank you.
Sergeant Kalagher, now, please lead us off the field.
Officer Trainer.